Let's do this. Hello, my name is James Merrigan. I'm an artist and art writer, and for the last decade I've been writing on Irish art in the form of critical reviews, essays and videos. For the last year I've stopped doing that and I've retreated to this windowless garage attached to my home in Waterford City to produce, of all things, screen prints. In late 2018, I proposed a project to the Irish Arts Council to produce artist zines, and I was successful. So for the last 6 months, I've been working with 12 artists in collaborative pairs to produce 6 artist zines, which will be launched and exhibited at Palace Projects Dublin in late 2019. For the last 6 months, I've been messing around with screen print. I've never done it before, but I felt it was an affordable way of producing artist zines, and it felt also bodily, physical, in that, new printing technology is so good that it kind of removes the human element. Screen printing text is complicated by the human element, in that it's all about the weight of the body pulling the squeegee and ink across the screen, and the speed of it, and so many technical and human variables that make up a screen print that is kind of exciting. Sometimes the arches and stems of the font get flooded with ink. There's different weights of ink on one page, and all these mistakes I'm making, some I'm disregarding and others I'm recycling. Because I've stopped disseminating my text online, I found it very difficult to kind of share my writing. So yesterday I was screen printing, and I decided maybe a spoken word text might work, for now anyway. I am at the moment producing zines. They're mainly critical reviews, but I'm sending them to the directors of the galleries or the curators or the artists involved. I've always written for the artist. It's just been a bonus I've had in readership outside of the artist, but when I'm writing a review, I'm writing directly to the artist. I always have one reader, I know that, so that's motivation enough. So that's the process I'm using at the moment, but I felt that I needed something else, and I was watching this Steve Allen film, this video. He's a broadcaster in America in the 50s, and he has this kind of chat show, this jazzy chat show, and you can get a clip of it online, and one of the episodes that has Jack Kerouac on it, and he reads out part of On the Road, and it's kind of a beautiful kind of experience hearing the author read out his own words, because he's quite awkward talking to Steve Allen before he reads out the text, but it's like he leaves this awkward body the minute he inhabits his own words.
I saw in the clouds, huge and massed above the fiery golden desert of evenfall, a great image of God with forefinger pointed straight at me, through halos and rolls and gold folds that were like the existence of a gleaming spear in his right hand, which saith, "Come on, boy, go thou across the ground. Go moan for man. Go moan. Go groan. Go groan alone."
I'm hoping that I bring some kind of weight or some kind of human element to my reading. Maybe my readings will get better. At the moment I'm pretty awful at them, I think, but I think it's worth it to try this thing out. So I hope to do a series of these. I have lots of text to read out, but I don't know if I'll do them all. It depends on the text. Today I'm going to choose this one because I just screen printed it yesterday. It's a review of Eva O'Leary's show at Butler Gallery this year, early this year. So it's been on my computer for the last 6 months, and I felt I really needed to share it right now. It's one of the first texts I wrote when I stopped publishing online. This was an opportunity to try this out first time. The zine itself is 8 pages at the moment, 8 pages, A5, and it's I use a kind of recycle or repurpose Raymond Pettibon method of stapling his zines when his brother was in Black Flag and he was producing these zines to hand out at gigs. And so he used this method where he inverted, it's kind of just a signature, he inverted or reversed the staple so the crimp is on the outside, it's on the binding of the zine. So when you pick it up, it clips your finger. The zine itself is kind of challenging the design of it, in a sense that in the center page, the centerfold, it's a wall of text, even though there's 2 separate pages. I want to kind of challenge these ideas of margins and texts, and I want it to be kind of an object. So I'm playing with the design at the moment. In this particular zine, I've used the image 3 times. One of them is a detail. You see in the detail that it's a bitmap image which picks up the ink beautifully, and it gets the kind of, the midtones, especially when you're using monochrome colors. I'm sticking with monochrome at the moment, black, blue and red. I'm not really interested in separations of color and all that kind of stuff. I'm much more interested in the weight of text that screen printing gives me. And the economy of it as well. So time is an issue, money is an issue, all those things are an issue in producing any kind of printed text. So I'm trying to make it as simple as possible and to really show the nuances that you can get from monochrome texts. So without further ado, I'm going to read this out and just try it out. This is all an experiment. I'm going to try and read it out as clearly as possible. During the reading, you're not going to see me, you're going to see images of the text. I want to kind of bring in this idea of spoken word and text together, the reading of it, the listening of it, and see what happens. Of course, this will be listened to on different devices, laptops, tablets, mobile phones, so the experience will be different, but I want to kind of see what happens with these spoken word texts and see if they work. If they work, and if I feel like they're working, I'll do more. If you want to find out more about the project, you can go to imnotapainter.com, and you'll find a statement there about what this project is and where it came from, especially in my retreat from the art scene and online in the disseminating of my texts. And you can learn more about Arrangements, which is the name of the project, the launch of the artist scenes at Palace Projects in November 2019. Thank you, and let's do this. Eva O'Leary, Butler Gallery, Kilkenny, winter 2019. Ever painted self-portraits? I did. Lots when I was a painter. Hour upon hour looking at me, failing likeness of me, for me, or how others perceived me. Jacques Lacan's psychoanalysis pivots on meanness, especially when looking in the mirror, that diptych of self, hinged or unhinged, me. Before self-realization in a mirror as infants, we are happy, language free, unaware of the other, integrated into the world as a whole without desire to know oneself outside oneself, because no split between here and over there and there exists. happy at the warm breast of the mother, in a plump landscape, until language, holy, 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 fucks it up. Our likeness in the mirror is the difference between sepia Kansas and Technicolor Oz. Home but not home. Heimlich but unheimlich. Eva O'Leary's photography brings all this home in the Technicolor of early adolescence, sourced from her childhood home, Happy Valley, Pennsylvania. Yes, Happy Valley. Photographing adolescence, female identifying, as the press release states in the gender-bordered vernacular of today, sets the stage for the expected. Shuffling in seats, downward gazes, the battle with electric locks of hair that no scrunchie will ever tame. An accompanying film does all this like a lab experiment, cornering the subjects with focused denial. The way photographer Diane Arbus did when she skipped down to Washington Square Park, New York, from her high-rise life to corner the subcultural basement of homeless winos and prostitutes, described in the on-PC 1970s as freaks. Sometimes when an artist corners a subject, the artist gets cornered too. Subcultures reside in the corners of society, and artists are drawn to the little corners of society for their marvellous subjects. In some corner of some barn in Happy Valley, by the artist's accounts, a hyper-masculine jock and cock culture, O'Leary corners something so sweet, Wayne Thiebaud sweet, that the psychic excess that Judith Butler theorises on in terms of performativity of gender and sexuality, and David Lynch aesthetises in film from the abject soil of the American suburban pastoral sours our gaze. These are photographs that aesthetically ripple outwards, strawberry and peach and ultramarine, dipping their toes in the cultural reservoir from which we now drink. Poison or not, these images are for drinking. Closely cropped photograph portraits give face, the face of early adolescence, that seedbed of adulthood and wet dream of sexuality that we all pass through with retrospective astonishment at how we made it through in the first place. How? The confusion, the secrets, the pubic hair, the bubbling acne, the blood, masturbation, in theory, braces, pimples, BO. Yes, that's what we're smelling and looking at here. The biological gauge overheating, simmering to boil, to pop on the mirror. Not just yet. Not yet. Just yet. And yet, adolescence is nostalgia for those that made it through. The hope, the naivete, the mistakes, the ripe innocence waiting to be spoilt. Not looking back but forward. Always forward. And what of innocence? The shelter from experience, good or bad, spoils in another way. Spoil goes two ways. Parents spoil and society spoils. The familial subjectivity of one versus the cruel objectivity of the other. The spoiled will fly the nest to be spoiled. Inevitably. Waiting for the click of the camera. Eva O'Leary's adolescent subjects have some control over their image. As directors of the moment, the photographer clicks the camera to capture their chosen pose reflected back at them in a two-way mirror. How do you pick yourself? It's cruel. We don't pick our name, our parents, our class. The other picks us in the schoolyard. Here there's no escape from me. You have to choose. Lips closed, parted, pearly whites, demented cheese. The body never fits, never. Sugar is seductive on the surface. The cavities of contemporary culture snarl through the American Pie rictus of these in limbo girls waiting to be photographed, waiting to be consumed, waiting for consummation. We look at these photographs of adolescent Americanness through the lens of contemporary adolescent culture, which finds itself gazing at itself with an obsessiveness that would repel narcissists. It's the now of it all that gets you first. Adolescent girls looking at themselves with 1,000-yard stares in a two-way mirror, fit for the guilty until proven innocent. 10 years after Lacan's mirror stage, 10 years off adulthood, 10 years off the future mediated self that technology and society wills into being. Time transcends stillness as girl after girl after girl in a Warholian sameness and multiplicity that draws out comparison and favourites gets herself made up in front of the camera. Identity is not personal, observed Deleuze. These are in-person photographs, in the flesh photographs, in the gallery photographs. Up close last night's dreams flake in the corners of bejewelled eyes that, in Millie's case, reflects her mirror image in one teensy, oily pupil. You might think that photography transcends medium specificity. A photograph is the same in a book as it is in the cover of a magazine, as it is on Instagram, as it is here in the gallery, but you'd be wrong. Here the physically large format and display confronts. Here we are confronted by a double gaze, one that turns inwards, outwards. Larger than life, girl after girl blindly looks at herself over the shoulder of shrunken head you in the gallery. Their gazes are slightly off, as if contact lenses have shifted and eyes are trying to focus on two things at once. Here in the gallery, the hair and accessories that frame their faces have an aristocratic sparkle as they fade into pools of deep blue. We are a long way off from the greys of German photographer Thomas Ruff's new objectivity of the 1980s. Although here too, an emotional blankness presents itself, gunner-eye stare, as the world remotely holds itself in its hands. Ruff's portraits are of his friends and peers who knew the score. They are making art, they are making a statement about themselves, their culture, what they see beyond the mirror. O'Leary's subjects can't look beyond the mirror. What they see in the mirror bounces back, hitting them hard in the midriff of identity, and the self in flux since the first day it toddled in front of the mirror and the world cracked in two. Thank you.